The world is burning. The ice melts, the oceans rise, and the skies scorch the ground drier every year. In some places, water swallows the land. In others, the lands are consumed by flames. In others, the air burns your lungs. And that's just the climate. For most people, economics are sliding backward, not forward. Your paycheck vanishes like sand slipping through your fingers. Bills multiplying faster than dollars. The government deciding you're on your own. The world feels like it's standing on the brink of what? Collapse? Destruction? War? Genocide? You hear whispers of global catastrophe every day now. A background static you can never quite tune out, and yet you find it harder and harder to care about, knowing it's going to happen to you soon enough. And even if none of that happens, if the wars don't break out, if the systems don't crumble, it doesn't matter. There's always something waiting around the corner. Some new crisis, some new threat. There's so much suffering in the world, more than any one person can hold, and yet we all try to shoulder it alone. Most people don't let you see their pain, and that pain becomes fear, and that fear becomes anger, and that anger divides us more and more. And when you see this, when you really see it, it's easy to get lost in dread, in fear, in despair. The pains feel real. The problems feel real. The threats, the things that could destroy you, they feel horrifyingly real. Because they are. Life feels like it's spinning out of control. Like no matter what you do, no matter how hard you work to wrestle the chaos into submission, there will always be something else lurking just outside your vision. And one day, there may come a moment when you realize that nothing you do, not your plans, not your hard work, not your prayers, can change the trajectory you're on. And that thought, it's terrifying. But here's the thing, it's supposed to be. Because the truth is, you never had control. You never did. The control you think you have has always been a delusion, a lie, a trick of the mind, a necessary part of the universe moving around us. When you try to control life, life has a way of showing you how little you truly control. How will I make rent this month? What do I do if I can't afford groceries? What happens when the bills come due, when the world doesn't care that I've done everything right? What do you do when your life burns down, literally or metaphorically, and no one comes to save you? When those who hold all the power, the money, the aid, shrug and decide to play games with your life? It's so easy to get lost in these thoughts, in these ideas. But the answer isn't in a life without problems. The Buddha said it right in the parable of the 83 problems. A man once went to the Buddha, desperate for answers. His life had become unbearable, a mess of endless challenges and frustrations. He laid them all out before the Buddha. Difficulties at work, conflicts with his family, his declining health, the crushing dissatisfaction with everything he had worked for so far. Surely, he thought, someone as wise and enlightened as the Buddha could help him fix his life. The Buddha listened quietly, and then, with calm certainty, he replied, "I can't help you with your 83 problems." The man blinked in shock. "What do you mean?" "Why not?" The Buddha looked him in the eye and said, "Because everyone has 83 problems. You have 83 problems. Your neighbor has 83 problems. Even the wealthiest king, in his palace, has 83 problems. Some of these problems will solve themselves. Others will persist. But the truth is, no matter what you do, you will always have 83 problems." Frustrated, the man asked, "Then what's the point of all this? Are you saying there's no solution? There's no way to fix my life?" The Buddha smiled, a small, knowing smile, and said, But perhaps I can help you with your 84th problem." Confused, the man asked, "What's the 84th problem?" And the Buddha said, "The 84th problem is that you think you shouldn't have any problems." That's the cosmic joke, my friends. You spend your life chasing the idea that one day you'll have no problems. That one day you'll fix everything, control everything, make everything just the way you want it. But that's impossible. There will always be problems. You've been playing the wrong game this whole time. You've been fighting against the nature of life itself. Life isn't something you win. It's not something you control. It's something you experience. The cosmic joke is that it was never going to be any other way. But here's the layer to this joke that gets even more absurd. And, in the absurdity, profoundly liberating. The life you think you're living, the self you believe yourself to be, the problems you claim as your own, this story you tell about your existence, it's all an illusion, not a trick, not something designed to confuse or deceive you, but an illusion in the purest sense, something appearing real, yet not fundamentally solid, not lasting, not separate. What you call your life isn't yours. It's not happening to you because, at the deepest level, there's no separate you for it to be happening to. This mind, this body, this life, these are temporary masks. Costumes the universe is wearing for a time, playing a role, living a story. You are the universe. You've always been the universe, expressing itself through this moment of form, this lens of consciousness. What you think of as you is not apart from the whole. It is the whole, condensed into a single point of awareness. Every thought, every feeling, every experience is just the infinite cosmos experiencing itself. You see, the universe doesn't need a reason to exist, and neither do you. It doesn't need a destination, a purpose, a fixed outcome. It doesn't strive to control its existence or fight against it, because it knows that this dance, this flow of creation and destruction, is all there is. It needs no justification. It just is. And all you are, the self you think you are, is a thought the universe is having, learning and witnessing itself through you. This existence you're so deeply wrapped up in, so enamored with, and so terrified to lose. It's all a passing wave on the infinite ocean. And like every wave, you rise for a time and then fall back, only to become the ocean again, just as you were before. You emerged from the universe, from its billions-year-long dance of stars and space and matter coming together, expanding, cooling, and coalescing. You weren't created out of nowhere. You are not an other. You were the universe then, and you are the universe now. The same stars that burned themselves alive to scatter elements across the cosmos. The same chain reaction that formed galaxies and planets. The same spark of creativity in the DNA that wrote the story of life on Earth. That's you, not a piece of it, not a result of it. You are it. And so when this moment ends, this particular story of you, this version of I, there's nowhere to fearfully flee, nowhere to lose yourself. You don't disappear. You don't end. You simply return. You never actually left. This illusion of separation, of selfhood, of me versus the world, is what feeds the fear. The fear of what happens when it's over. The fear of what might destroy this body, this identity, this life. But when you let go of the illusion of separateness, when you see that what you fundamentally are is not the wave but the ocean, the game changes. Death is not the destruction of who you are. It's not even the end of what you are. It's simply the moment the wave dissolves back into the ocean's infinite embrace. Birth, death, these are moments, movements, cycles. They are not good or bad. They are not celebrations or tragedies. They are not purposeful or mistaken. They just are. And when you see that, really see it, not just intellectually, but feel it in the core of your being, you will understand that there is nothing to fear. Nothing. How could there be? Fear arises when there is a sense of losing something. But what can you lose when you are, and have always been, everything? You are a process that's been unfolding for 13.8 billion years, ever since that singular moment. Call it the Big Bang. Call it the birth of all things. Call it the mind of the divine opening to itself. That process didn't stop when galaxies cooled or planets formed. It didn't stop as life emerged, as evolution occurred, as human beings became conscious. That process is still happening, and you are that process. The energy that birthed the first stars, that spiraled through galaxies, that created the dust which became the earth, that energy became you, this body, this consciousness, and in every moment it is still becoming. Breathing, thinking, suffering, laughing, forgetting itself, remembering itself. Look closely. There is nothing incomplete about you, nothing missing, nothing wrong. You are the universe in totality, just as you are right now. Even with the bills unpaid and deadlines looming, even with the uncertainty in your heart and the chaos in your mind, you are perfect. The cosmic joke, the great unfolding, is all about realizing this. You are already whole, already free. The good, the bad, the highs, the lows, the stories you love, and the ones you fear, this is it. This is all there is. And better yet, this is enough. When you realize this, truly realize it, something remarkable happens. You stop taking the illusion so seriously. You stop gripping life with your fists clenched so tight in desperation to control or fix it. You stop fearing the end of you, because there never was a you to lose, only the universe playing, experiencing itself moment after moment. And when you let go of the striving, the needing, the fearing, you laugh. Not out of despair, but out of freedom. Because life is not something to conquer or fix. It's a dance, a cosmic game, and it's one that was never meant to be won or lost. It was meant only to be. So breathe, smile, feel, live, not to make it last, not to change it, but simply to witness it. Because that's what the universe is doing through you, enjoying the experience of itself as you. And in that, you are perfect and complete, just as you are.